Welcome to Toffee TV, joined by Andy. We're going to talk about this man, Richarlison, in goal scoring form for Brazil this week. Before we do this video, it's sponsored by OneFootball, the app that keeps you up to date with the latest scores, transfer rumours and stats all in one place to download the app. Click the link. Richarlison, back amongst the goals. Listen, I know it's been Qatar, I know it's been a 10-man Honduras.
Yeah.
However, he scored these assists in both games as well. And it was just something, I think we had that little bit of a chat about this off camera last week. We were talking about his natural position. Now, he's played on the left when we got him, done a good job. Played through the middle, done a decent job for us.
4-11.
And played on the right and done a very good job for us. And I know I'd put this on Twitter, I mean, you're going to have this conversation and people are like, didn't even play up front.
No, he didn't.
I know he didn't, he played on the right.
It's where he scores from.
But it's the positions that he takes up is what the conversation is. So, Richarlison, good season, 13 Premier League goals.
Well, for a 22-year-old player, that's really good. That's a great starting point. You know, he's anyone. You know, if you look at Richarlison, you go, he's not the complete player. He obviously isn't. But people can score that many goals in a season at that age. There's not many people who can come into the Premiership and do that. So that's obviously got natural ability. He still needs to round things out in this game. You know, obviously there's like when people, I've had conversations with many people about Richarlison. You know, his goal scoring. It's instinctive, the positions he takes up, and this is why we'll be getting on to his positioning. When he's out wide, though, his passing still needs work. Which and I'm not going to like overly criticise him, but he still needs to work. He needs to work on his passing, his crossing, if he's going to stay as a winger. But most of his goals, I watched all of his goals again last night, and apart from the one at Brighton where he clipped it round to Toffee and ran onto it, and the goal when he first came in against Wolves where he edged the box. All of them inside the box. He's standing centrally inside the box. Now, as some people have said, whether that's because he's coming in off the right wing or the left wing, potentially, but he's just got this knack in the box, and if you get closer you get to goal, the more likely he is to score. Like I was looking last night, and I know people don't love stats, but he averages more shots when he's out wide, but he plays more, to be honest with you, out wide, so it sort of skews the figures. But shots on target and there's sort of XG. I know people don't like XG, it's expected goals, but you know, it's an expectation of where you're going to score from. They're pretty similar when he plays centrally, and the accuracy when he plays centrally is much better than when it's out wide, because I'm guessing he's not taking any speculative shots when he's cutting on his right foot. But I think he can play centrally, man. I really do. I think if you've got the right system, I know. You know, I mentioned this last week. I think about, you know, with Gylfi behind him, it draws the midfield deeper, so there's not enough space. And whereas like teams who play 4-3-3, there's a space for a number 9 to drop into and then run at the defenders. So it all depends on system. But I think if you brought in like people say David Neres or a Malcolm to play on the right, you have Bernard on the left, and you have Richarlison centre. That's an option, especially away from home when teams are going to be bit further out, you know what I mean, there's a bit more space in behind. So with his pace, it could be an asset, really, yeah.
I mean, I know Marco Silva, when he brought him in, said he could play up front as well. He said he can play anywhere across the front three, which he's proved.
Yeah, he has, yeah. He scored, I think, 4 or 5 goals last season, essentially. I think one of them was the Burnley game, Boxing Day, New Year's Day, whichever one it was.
Boxing Day,
yeah. Where he came on as a sub, he played centrally, he scored, yeah. I think that counts as one. But yeah, 5 goals from central, so that's a good return in 12 games. So he is capable of playing there. Obviously, I understand that people want someone who can, you know, like Calvert-Lewin, who can hold the ball up, which Charles is still working on. But it's just horses for course, in the sense that you can play different ways and it'd be effective. You don't have to play like that big striker up front all the time. You can play someone smaller and more quick, like Richarlison. And the closer you have him to go, like Brazil found out, every time he plays for Brazil, the cross comes in, he's in the middle. You know, he finds space to get the shot off us and score. That's what we need.
I mean, there were 2 different goals as well. His header against Qatar, keeper got it answered. Possibly could have done better, but it was a good header. And his goal yesterday, he was like in the middle of the 6-yard box when it come across.
Just take great positions, just instinctive,
And that's what I look for as a centre forward. You look for what positions and what areas strikers are taking up in the box, and a lot of it is instinctive of being in the right place at the right time. I always quote his goal against Chelsea at home. It's a reaction. He makes a great save and he's there to let it in. No, everyone else is standing still, and that's the instinct of a good centre forward. And I look at Dom, and Dom is much better at holding the ball up.
His all-round plays good.
Better in the air.
Yeah.
You know, works really hard. Dom's great, and he's getting better all the time. But I think Richarlison is naturally a better goal scorer.
Oh, he is, yeah.
He takes up instinctive positions. Like
he just shifts into the right position.
He's in the right area, the ball come in. He probably, if you asked him, he wouldn't know why he was in that position. but he's just there and it's in the net.
Well, yeah, when you watch a striker, you look at them and like you look when you watch them and you think, make that run there. He instinctively gravitates to that area. Whereas sometimes Calvert-Lewin's watching the ball, or he's waiting for a defender to make a move before he makes his move. It's not as instinctive. I think with the thing with Everton and Evertonians as well is we are used to that little sort of Calvert-Lewin type striker. He is our. We're not really used to someone like Richarlison playing up front, who's smaller, offers a bit more, a bit more pace. We've been, lucky to have players of more Calvert-Lewin's type who've been good for us than obviously Richarlison's. But the football's changed. You look at other teams. Look, Aguero's 5'8", 5'9". I know Richarlison's much taller than that, but that type of player who can stretch defences, make them work, and open up spaces for Gylfi as well. But, we need someone who can put the ball on the back of the net, but we also need creativity inside. And if you have Richarlison on the wing, as good as he is on the wing, he isn't really that creative. Let's be honest.
He doesn't cross the ball, does he?
No, he tries to pass, but he still passing need where. I had a look, and again, this is the stat thing, but like Richarlison only created 2 big chances where a player sets a person up, and they should conceivably score. Usually, it's a 1-on-1 or inside the 6-yard box. He only created 2 last season. Adam Look, when he played much less games, created 3. So that's the sort of difference in creativity. That's not a criticism of Richarlison. That's not his game. He's a goal scoring winger, but you look at other people who are goal scoring wingers like a Salah or a Sterling. They're also very creative. They're also good at setting people up, and that's where this game needs to come on. Which I think it will. I think he'll get much better. But I think that ability to make space in the box, as you say, you could harness that by having him centrally, and then have 2 more creative players outside him, and we might be a better team for it at times.
It is weird, isn't it? Because when you look at it, he got like 13 goals last season in the Premier League, 14 overall, and you think, well, if he gets 14 again wide, and we get a lad in the middle who gets 15, and then we've got Bernard who gets half of it, immediately our goals have gone up, and that's great because you want your front three to be able to get your goals. But then the flip side of that is, if we don't bring a centre forward in, and I think we will, but if we didn't, then surely he's a good option. If we do then bring a left-footed right winger in, like Neres or like Malcolm, someone like that who can put the ball in the back of the net as well, then you've got this kid through the middle as well. Yeah,
there's options. Like I said, people go, you need 3 strikers. Not many teams carry three sole strikers because it's hard to give them that many minutes, and a lot of teams only play 1 striker. So like, there's only at Man City, there's Aguero and Jesus, and then Sterling can play up front. Same with Richarlison. We'd have the new striker, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, whichever way around you want them, and then you'd have him as your third option if you need be. And in certain games, like I don't want to. I'm not criticising Calvert-Lewin. In certain games, when it's 2 banks of 4 and you're trying to break them down, in making half a yard in the box and being able to get a shot off is key to winning games. That's the difference. And Calvert-Lewin's game just isn't there yet, where he's going to be able, in the air, yes, because if you put the ball into Calvert-Lewin, great head of the ball. But when it's at his feet, making that space to shoot, it's still not quite there yet. So having someone like Richarlison essentially close to goal, get 1 chance, it's in. That's all we need.
So with all that said, then 2 questions here. So I'll ask you this one first, and then I'll go back to that one. Do you see a position changing for him just in general, whether it's at Everton or whether he moved on in a couple of seasons, or do you think?
I think in the right system he plays as a 9. I do. I think if you went to someone like, eventually if it was a Barcelona, I don't think they play him on the wing because I don't think he's what their type of winger type is. They want people who can possession play. But if you've got someone instinctive in the box, you can get on the Messi's ball. Well, Messi might not be there by that point, but if Messi or whoever's creating that type of player, like a Suarez,
will play through the middle.
Play the middle. That's the type of. If you look at even Tottenham last season when they brought Kane back in. Towards the end of the Kane, when they had just Son and Moura from even though they're not natural strikers, they're both attacking midfielders, white wingers, they caused so many problems with the pace.
Spurs were arguably
you look at the City game, they just absolutely ran them ragged in that second City game because they just couldn't control it, and that is an option that we will have with Richarlison. And I think I suppose it's easy to say he's not going to be a winger now, and I can't say he's a 9 because I still need to see that progression in his game. I'm waiting for him to sort of be a better passer. He's a good dribbler, by the way. I know people say, "Oh, he's better. He's out wide because he gets the ball." He still doesn't. He still doesn't like what's the word for it? He still doesn't complete a lot of his dribbles. His percentage for what other wingers of his level or of ability isn't that high. He doesn't complete as many. So you're looking at most top dribblers usually 60-70% of the dribbles they complete. He's more around 50, 49, 50%. So he's still needs to make better decisions. So he still needs to make better decisions on the ball. But as a role, I think as a 9, if you had space to drop into in a 4-3-3, for example, and then he could run at players centrally and stretch look at when he had Toffee and Dunk on toast last season. They couldn't handle that. And against them type of defenders, if he's running at them with space to drop into, but if he's played like he was in the 4-2-3-1, right up against the centre halves, and then you've got the midfield dropping in to cover Gylfi as well, there's not enough space for him to work, and it sort of creates problems. Whereas Dom thrives with that because he wants the ball into his chest, then off to Gylfi, that's his game. So it's just it depends on in the right system. Richarlison plays number 9, but as I say, I think for Everton in this season he'll probably stay on the wing while we stick with the 4-2-3-1 with Gylfi. But I think long term he could be a 9.
So with all that being said, would you still go by the centre forward?
Yeah, I would anyway. Just even maybe we've been linked with Gaich and stuff like that. If you brought Gaich in and Calvert-Lewin, then you've also got Richarlison, so there's still the options. So yeah, I think Brands and Silva know that he can probably play centrally for Richarlison, and that option's always there for them if they're struggling. And it also allows them to play different types of wingers. Then hopefully, I don't know what's going to happen with Lookman, but hopefully he's given more of a chance next season. I'm a big Lookman fan. I think he'd be great off the wing again. Problem is Bernard plays in front and Bernard works hard off the ball, which is what Lookman needs to do if he wants to play forever. He needs to work hard off the ball and train him. But yeah, with playing Gylfi and Richarlison, you then need to fill the other 2 positions, whichever way round you do it, with some creativity. That's why Bernard probably has to stay in the team. You couldn't bring in someone exactly the same as Richarlison and have them on the wings, because then you'd be pulling creativity out the side and it'll all be left on Sigurdsson then, which is good creativity, but he needs help. Everyone needs help, you know what I mean? So
it's just when I'm looking at the moment and I'm thinking, right, we know that we want a centre forward. So if they want a centre forward to come in, and we know for a fact they want a left-footed right winger,
he'll be playing back on the left next season. Yeah,
then where will Bernard go?
But then you need options, don't you? I know people always go play the Bernard 10. He's only played 8 or 9 games there in his career total, but he has got the ability.
Yeah,
And there's also the option if you bring in a 6, you can play like City do 4-1-4-1, where you have 2 attacking midfielders, Gylfi and Bernard, with 2 wingers. I know that's hard for Everton because we're still not probably it's hard to imagine, but that's a potential option. And I think Silva would look to play that eventually. But again, it's all about personnel. We need to buy players who also allow us to play different ways. So like the left-footed right winger, that allows us then to play a 4-3-3, where we do have the wide forwards, if you will, that play closest to the striker, and they basically got 3 forwards then within the midfield behind them. So yeah, it just depends. As I say, in the right system, he will play as a 9. In the 4-2-3-1 that we currently play, I don't think so long term. No.
But do you think Everton may move to the 4-3-3?
I think so. And I think as Gylfi gets older, naturally, I think he will sort of gravitate. Like, he plays quite a bit deeper, doesn't he, for Iceland anyway at times. He plays as a 10 on the weekend, actually, but he has played deeper for him at times. And even if it's not Gylfi, as I said about Sangare previously, if you can play a midfield 3, Sangare, Gomez and Gay, you probably need a more natural 6, but Sangare can play 6 as well. He's got the ability, and then you've got them 3 there, and then you've got the three forwards, whoever it is, say, Richarlison on the left, whoever the new striker is, and the new left-footed right wing, and then that's a similar system to what Liverpool play at the moment. It just changes the option. You've got so many different options with the players coming in, and I think that's what you need. You can't play the same way we watched at the end of last season. It worked against your Manchester United, and then we played Fulham. Just didn't. And the Crystal Palace Palace didn't really click. Because they're sitting deeper. That counter-attacking style won't work as well. So you need to be able to break teams down, which we need different players to do it. Yeah.
It's options, isn't it? I suppose.
That's exactly. It's Marcus Silva needs to have different options to play different ways. You can't just have a mirror for mirror. So you buy a mirror for Richarlison to play behind him. You need something different in each position.
And I suppose with the likes of him, he gives us that option to go right, left, central, doesn't he?
I'd like to see him back on the left, because I think that is. I think I can't remember. He scored more goals on the left than he did anywhere else. I think he was 8 last season. He scored off the left, but yeah, he's better off the left than he is off the right. I think
that relationship though between Dean and Bernard.
Yeah, exactly. That's
the dynamic is better for the team.
Exactly. And then he covered Combs, works hard. Yeah. So it's trying to fill them gaps in when you sign new players. You go, well, Charlton did well on the right, but that is not his best position. I need to be able to move him.
Let me say this then. Yeah. Say Everton began with Richarlison and Coleman on the right and Bernard and Dean on the left, because that's how we finished the season, and we got, I don't know, Seb Haller for argument's sake, because he's a name who's been mentioned. The left-footed right winger then, I suppose, should come in and take his time to bed
Yeah,
in. If
that's
it was a Neres or if it was a Malcolm,
I think especially with the Neres, he's got
let
time
them
to
come and sub half an hour, 20 minutes, and then
by Christmas you're ready to let them out. Yeah,
and then it's up to everybody. Then I suppose then you're going the match going. I don't know who's going to play yet.
Well, that's also for the teams like setting up for us. Like, you know, when people are analysing as opposition scouts, they're going to be going, well, he might play the 4-3-3, but he might play the 4. You know what I mean? It creates doubt then. So they can't. At the moment, you can say Everton plays 4-2-3-1. We know who's going to start where, and it's easier to set up against them.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to, and that's why it worked at the end of the season, because we did play differently. If you think before Christmas, it's that great period we had after Christmas. So that's what we need to do. We need to be able to play different ways against different teams.
It's going to be interesting to see how Richarlison's career does pan out, because I think there's a case for both. I think he's great wide just because he is a wide striker, but I do see things in his game that are just natural, instinctive. Finishing inside the penalty area where he puts the ball in the back of the net from, and that to me says a centre forward. I've spoken with people about that. You know, I know this is an Everton podcast again, but Mo Salah, for example, he's got that horrible knack of just turning up inside the box. Yeah,
he just be able to just knows exactly where to be, and that's the same with Richarlison. There's only a couple of players you see with it now who are young, and Richarlison's one. The other one's Ryan Sessegnon at Fulham. He's another who just ends up in the right place in the box all the time, and you can't teach that. Some people develop it, but these lads just quite naturally. And if the closest to the goal they are, and if you're putting the ball in the part of the box, he's got half a chance to score. And out wide, he's having to come in. You see, it's hard to. It's up to. Marcus has got some sharp, I can say.
Yes, that's good. Well, we'll see how he develops. It's great to have a lad who can do both and is effective in.
It's great to see him do well for Brazil as well. You know.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant to have the Brazil striker, isn't it? And he's scoring goals. So I mean, I know the more he scores, the more he'll be linked away from Everton. But that's football, and that is the way it is. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Do you think Richarlison is better wide, or can you see him playing as a number 9 through the middle? Let us know what you think. Big thanks to Andy again, and give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Otherwise, see you later.